So just because you got a small audience on social media don't mean that you can't make big money. Ask me how I know. Because at one point, I lost my Instagram a couple years ago and I had to start over from zero. And while I was building back up, even at 800 followers, even at 1,000 followers, I was having 6-figure days in my business. And I'm gonna show you how you can go and do the same. It baffles me how many people that have hundreds of thousands of followers, even millions of followers, don't know how to monetize their audience. And then how people that have hundreds of followers think that they got to have millions of followers in order to monetize theirs, when not knowing that people that got all of these followers still not making money. So I'm gonna show you in this video 3 different practical ways that you can apply immediately to start making big money with your small audience. The first thing that you have to fix is your messaging. Okay. A lot of the time what happens is this. We don't make the people who we can help be very clear that we can help them. Let me say it this way. The people who we're trying to help don't know that we're trying to help them. Why? Because our messaging isn't clear. There's a framework by which you need to follow when you're thinking about how do you create content for your audience. Who do I help? How do I help them? What's their payoff? Who do I help? How do I help them? What's their payoff? So we help coaches, consultants, and experts build 6 to 7-figure businesses by implementing our one-to-many system. Who do I help? How do I help them? What's their payoff, right? Their payoff is building a 6 to 7-figure business. How do I help them? By using our one-to-many system. And who do I help? Coaches, consultants, and experts. You see what I'm saying? So all of my content is surrounding that. Now I'm a faith-based man, so there will be biblical principles mixed in throughout the content, but because those principles is what we leverage in our business to help ourselves and our clients get the results that we promised them. What oftentimes happens is when you got a small audience, because you don't really know that they're watching and they're waiting for you to help them and that eventually you will convert them, you pull off your message too soon. So one day you're talking about how to help business owners scale their businesses through systems, right? Maybe you're an operations type person. Then the next day you're talking about health and wellness. Then the next day you're talking about VAs, and like it's mixed messaging all throughout the post. Why? Because you kind of scrambling because you don't believe that just staying on message will eventually convert. And so what's happening is the people that think you're their person get confused. Why? Because if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. So where I used to feel like there was a personal connection and a consistent message from you, to where I'm starting to get drawn into your station. I want to hear from you every day. And then you start losing me when you start talking about all this other stuff that's not affiliated and associated with me. Does that make sense? So now all of a sudden, I don't feel like I have a personal connection with you anymore, because all you used to do was talk about my problems. Now you're talking about everybody's problems. And I don't want to hear about everybody's problems because I'm selfish and I want you to only talk to me about my problems. So we got to get our messaging dialed in. We got to understand, who do we help? How do we help them? What's their payoff? And then create all our content around that. So as an example, let's just say that you are an operations specialist. You help businesses stabilize their operations so that they can scale. So then what would your content creation look like? It would look like talking about the consequences of not having your systems in place. Well, their systems, right? Through your methodology. It will be the consequences of what happens to a business when they don't measure what they're doing day in and day out, when they don't have key performance indicators, right? How can they ever scale a business without having a solid baseline to operate from? You would talk about these things day in and day out. Then what would you do? You would talk about case studies and how you've helped other businesses, right? Not in a very overly, I'm trying to sell you way, but in a very organic, here's what happened way. Does that make sense? If you start to tweak this and get consistent on your message, you will be able to draw in your avatar. You will be able to clearly define to them how you help them. And you'll be able to clearly define to them what's their payoff as a result of you helping them. When you do that, guess what they're willing to do? Pay you. And not just pay you a little bit, but pay you a lot of bit based on the fact that they clearly understand how you help them. So let's just go back to that example. So let's just say you are somebody that is more of a COO type. You come in and help people establish processes within the operation to help them scale. So if you help a business who's doing $250,000 a year in revenue, stabilize their operation, put some good measurables and things in place to allow them to make the appropriate hires, that could then help them scale and double their business from 250 to 500 the next year. If you help a business go from 250 to 500 potentially in a year, do you think that's worth them paying you $10,000? Do you think that's worth them paying you $25,000? I would argue yes for both of those answers. At least $10,000 or $25,000. But if you're not clear about who you help, how you help them, what's their payoff, then how would they ever be clear that they're your person? So it's messaging. Number 2, by the way, if this is helping you, can you please share it out with somebody? That's all I ask. I just want to, the reason why I create this, right, has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the people that I'm trying to help, serve, and grow. And so if you know somebody that could benefit from this, all I ask is that you send it to them, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff to push it out into the algorithm. I appreciate you. Okay. So second is collaborations. Okay. You want to have collaborations. Now, what does that look like? So let's just say you got 1,300 followers, 300 followers, 800 followers. There's people out there that have your audience, but not your offer. They got your audience, but not your offer. Well, so what does that mean? So let's just say again, let's just say that your target audience is business owners that's making 250 grand or less a year. Because you know that more often than not, at that level, they may just be hustling, but they don't really have all the other stuff in place to help them scale and grow. So there may be a finance guru, if you will, who your audience would listen to, right? Because they're into investing, they're about growing money, they're about all the things. But at the very same time, that finance guru is not offering them systems on how to solidify and scale their business. So now, because you've been consistent with your messaging, that you can now send a cold DM to say a finance guru. Hey, love your channel. Listen to me. We have made millions of dollars. Myself and our students have done millions of dollars by doing what I'm telling you right now. Hey, love what you're doing. I see a lot of synergy amongst what you do and what I do. I love to potentially have IG Live with you as an example. You get them to agree to do the IG Live and you tell them, look, I actually run these challenges, or I run these webinars, or I run these masterclass, whatever your offer is, right? For anybody that buys a ticket to my thing, I'll give you half. So let's just say you were selling challenge tickets at $297. You go on their live stream, you sell 10 of them. These are 10 people that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise because you got them from their audience. So why not split it 50-50? And then you get them into your challenge and potentially sell them a $10,000 or $25,000 mastermind package. Who win it? Everybody. The people that the finance guru won because you came and added value to their audience and gave them a rev share. The client won because they finally got what they needed so that they can go from $250,000 a year to 500 or more. Everybody wins. So it's collaboration. It's looking for people that will likely have your avatar or audience, but does not have your offer, and then collaborate with them and incentivize them to tell them that you'll do a rev share. Where a lot of people go wrong is they'll do step one. They'll be like, oh, I love to collaborate with that person. And then you know what they never talk to them about? Giving them some money. Yeah, that part. Everybody want to get what? PAID. So you got to give them some paper. And then lastly, affiliates. Now this is similar to collaborations, but different. Okay. So this is what this looks like. My partner and I both, my partner David and I, we go on podcasts. Okay. And we go on big platforms. And as a result of that, and by the way, sometimes we pay. Like I've paid as much as $15,000 to go on a big platform that I knew gets millions of views per month, that it will put my business, it's marketing dollars. That's the way I look at it. That's the way you should look at it. Okay. I mean, if you want to make money, okay, that's the way you should look at it. And so you go on this platform and same is true. It's like, okay, look, I got this challenge coming up, right? As a matter of fact, we do it 7 times a year. So I want to give you an affiliate link so that anybody that purchases a ticket through this link, this special link, you as the podcaster are going to get 50% of the ticket sales. Guess what they get when you tell them that? Excited, especially if they already collected a fee from you to be on the platform and you're willing to rev share with them in perpetuity. I can tell you right now that we had a collaboration with a specific podcaster, which I'll leave nameless, but we've probably sold 300 tickets, maybe, to our events in the last 4 months, just from this one podcast. So what I'm telling you is that there's power in affiliate marketing. There's power in collaboration. There's power in getting together instead of staying separate. I know a lot of time it can be easy for us to fall into this trap of being in our own little silo. But when you get out here and you get on platforms and you bring value to their platform, by the way, that's the prerequisite. You got to bring value to their platform. But after doing so, then you did the work once that continue to pay you over time. That podcast was done one time, but because that link is in the show notes, every time somebody watch that podcast, which by the way, it lives in perpetuity. So every time somebody come back, watch that podcast, they click that link, they're going to get an update to the upcoming event. And so it's so much power in that, man. I've made millions of dollars through collaborations and affiliates that for 4 or 5 years of my business, I wasn't. Like, this is how I can tell you I've done it the opposite way. And it's far more painful in a world like today. If you don't have the audience, the best thing that you can do is to leverage someone else's. Okay. So quick review, get very tight on your messaging. Only talk to your avatar. You got to be okay with knowing if I'm talking to everybody, I'm talking to nobody. So don't think that by keeping your conversation general, you're reaching more people. No, you're reaching less of your people. Okay. And then secondly, go do collaborations. Go find people with a similar audience that don't have your offer. And then lastly, go out, get on other podcasts, give affiliate offers, give affiliate to your community and the people that follow you. Let them go out and speak on your behalf, and y'all collect the check together. If this was helpful, again, all I ask is that you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know. And if it's something else you want me to talk about as it pertains to this, just let me know in the comments, all right? Small audiences can make big money when you do the right things.